Thanks for joining us for another edition of Issues and Answers. I'm Ian Boyne. Today we talk about the Development Bank of Jamaica. Its General Manager with responsibility for loans, Mr. Edison Galbraith, is with us. We thank you for your company. Mr. Galbraith, good to have you on the show. My first question is the DBJ only for large investors? Do you cater to people in the micro sector, to the small man?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, we do. We're definitely not only for large businesses. The bulk of our financing each year actually goes to the micro, small, and medium-sized sector.
That's the bulk?
That's the bulk of our financing. What we found is that it's impact that we're after, so we focus on reaching as many small and micro businesses as possible. And on the other end of the spectrum, we support larger businesses where they create jobs and linkages so that everybody gets to benefit.
Yeah. How do people access the DBJ? Give us an idea of the process and the kinds of people you're catering to. There are lots of people watching us. They have business ideas, but they don't know how to finance those ideas. How do you help them?
Right. There are many ways in which persons can access the Development Bank of Jamaica. For lending, we work through approved financial institutions, which typically are your commercial banks, credit unions, the Exim Bank, as well as other lending institutions. So persons would actually go to those institutions and access the DBJ loans through them. We have 22 accredited approved financial institutions currently. In addition to that, we also lend through what we call microfinance institutions, and we have 14 of those accredited. And those are lending to people every day using DBJ funds. Outside of that...
So people do not come to you directly for the funding then?
Not for micro, small, and medium-sized enterprises, and certainly not for most of our large lending. The only area in which we do direct lending currently is for the construction of business process outsourcing facilities, which are fairly large facilities.
So people would go to a regular commercial bank and say what? They want this DBJ facility?
Yes, we actually encourage persons to go to their banks and ask for a DBJ loan because the banks have a range of facilities available. DBJ loans typically attract a lower interest rate. So that's the benefit that most persons get. Lower interest rates, longer tenors on the loans, flexibility. DBJ also has products such as the guarantee program, where we will actually guarantee a portion of the loans that people receive, small and medium-sized businesses receive at the commercial banks.
You guarantee that?
Yes, we guarantee up to 80% on small loans. That's loans below $6.25 million.
Up to 80% you guarantee?
80%. And why we do that is because we recognize that small and medium-sized businesses very often don't have the collateral that the banks typically need, such as real estate or other such assets. So they actually need some support. Very often they're leasing or renting space, and to get working capital and equipment, they need support. So we've provided over $1.3 billion in guarantees to date, allowing over 300 small businesses to access over $2 billion in loans.
Over what period?
Over the last 4 years.
The last 4 years?
Yes.
Yeah, that's quite a significant benefit. And there's an Ignite program that you tell us about.
Again, that program is targeted at what we'd say micro and small businesses. These are where entrepreneurs, young entrepreneurs predominantly, who have innovative ideas, that's ideas that are different but viable. They are able to compete essentially for up to $4 million Jamaican dollars each to support their projects. To date, I believe we've approved over 30 such grants, allowing these entrepreneurs grants. This is grant money.
Is grant money?
We're having gone through a process. Typically, they have to be a part of an incubator.
Yeah.
So you have programs offered by the JBDC, the Branson Center, the university programs, as well as the Jamaica Manufacturers Association. So they apply through those programs again. They are vetted, screened. They're allowed to pitch their ideas, and then from that, up to 30 persons are selected for these grants.
Okay. And a person can get up to $4 million.
Up to $4 million Jamaican dollars.
In grants,
in
not
grant
loans.
financing.
If the ideas are rated
and
as
we have
innovative
had persons with
enough.
brilliant ideas coming through. Ideas for businesses that we believe will grow significantly over the next few years.
Through this program. This is an important facility.
Yes, it is.
And people are putting up ideas.
Yes, they are. Yes, they are. And they're pitching ideas. We also support the national business model competition run by the universities, where students are able to come together and pitch ideas. And they go through a rigorous program where their ideas are vetted, they're refined, and the winners from Jamaica have actually gone on to the international business model competition and done extremely well. I believe they've come probably 4th and 7th of the global pool.
Good. So the Development Bank of Jamaica is having its impact in terms of encouraging entrepreneurship, making available resources to persons who are would-be entrepreneurs or who are entrepreneurs. DBJ is not just for the big man. The DBJ can help you. Just stay tuned to us. When we come back, we'll tell you more ways in which DBJ can help you.
The business process outsourcing BPO sector, employing more than 6,000 Jamaicans, putting the youth at work.
The kinds of work we are doing right now in Jamaica through our 40 companies established in this industry include applications like Netflix, applications like Amazon. So you're speaking to people about their credit cards. We are doing applications like tech support. So if you have a problem with your iPhone, iMac, or laptop, technical questions, those questions are being answered in some of our BPO operations. That's not a sweatshop.
The local BPO industry, creating employment, boosting the economy.
Welcome back to Issues and Answers. We're giving you ideas as to how your ideas can be funded. The General Manager with responsibility for loans at the Development Bank of Jamaica, Edison Galbraith, is our guest. And the DBJ helps not just in terms of loans, direct money for investments, but also in capacity building. You help companies to be technically competent.
Absolutely, yeah. And what we call that typically is the 3 C's. We focus on capital because businesses need capital to grow. They also need collateral support because our lenders typically require security. But critically, they also require capacity. And in that regard, we provide capacity in a number of ways. But the one we want to focus on right now is our voucher for technical assistance, where persons are able to access, again, grant funding, where DBJ pays up to 70% of the cost. And we have caps for each level. Where if persons need, let's say, a business plan to be done to improve their business, they can actually go on our website, dbjvoucher.com, and subscribe, apply for that voucher, and receive that support. So we provide our
And what's the amounts that are provided?
Well, there are a number of vouchers depending on the service.
Okay.
The cap is about 500,000, but there are vouchers for 300, 200, 100,000, depending on the service. So small businesses are able to get financial statements prepared. They're able to get accounting software. They're able to get mentorship. They're able to get shelf life studies done, patents done, a whole range of services that they need. And it's not only for those that are seeking loan financing. If you have a small business and you simply want to improve your operations, then you can access that voucher at DBJ's. DBJ.
So if I need some kind of capacity development for my workers, for example, I could access funding on the voucher
Absolutely.
program for that?
Absolutely. There's training for your staff.
Training for us.
There are a range of services. Some things you can access through the Jamaica Productivity Centre, the Bureau of Standards, a range of service providers.
And it's important because there are people watching us who have business needs and who might not know that in fact these needs can be catered to by an institution like the DBJ.
Absolutely. And to date, we've approved over 800 such vouchers. So small businesses have come forward and applied and received the support. So we're encouraging everybody out there to actually, if you know a small business that needs the support, go online to dbjvoucher.com and apply for the service. The services are available.
Yes. And did we mention the number of loans that you made in the last financial year?
In the last financial year, we did about 16,000 loans.
That many?
Simply because we lend through microfinance institutions, we lend through approved financial institutions, credit unions, commercial banks.
So your reach is wide.
So the reach is wide, much, much wider than DBJ could if it were to do it on its own.
Yes.
So we tap the network of all our lenders.
And I know that job creation is also an important part of your mandate. And you do that through the provision of loans for factory space. So when you give loans to larger industries, the objective is to help ordinary people, to help to create employment.
Absolutely, absolutely. We've focused over the last few years on the business process outsourcing industry.
BPO.
Simply because that industry creates thousands of jobs for the lowest capital.
It's labor intensive.
When we compare it to other industries, it's a fraction of the investment cost, but the jobs that it creates are amazing. To date, we have lent over $65 million to create, and let me give you...
That's like doing Jamaican, if you can do the calculation.
Let's say 8 billion. 8 billion at the current exchange rate. And that has facilitated over 850,000 square feet of space with the ability to employ 20,000 persons. We've completed about, just under half of that space has been completed of those projects, and they're currently employing up to over 6,000 persons already. It's amazing when you go in one of these facilities and you see a sea of young people working. From the 18 to 24 age group, which is where our unemployment really is highest.
And it's DBJ funding, which is creating these facilities.
Yes, but the important thing is also that we're pulling in private sector funding. So our 65 million US or 8 billion has actually attracted 105 million in private investment. So we've gotten the developers on board, but also we've been getting the private financiers on board. So 3 of the projects that we've done have actually been funded through our commercial banking partners. So we not only have the private developers now coming on board and building out space, but now we have the private sector banks coming on board and funding that space directly. So we see our role as a catalyst to get all of this done.
So the public-private partnerships is an important model in your development
It is
suite.
a very important model throughout what DBJ's activities. We're not there as government to, let's say, fund everything, but our role is to encourage the private sector to come on board and make it easier for them to stimulate growth and development. Another key thing about the BPO industry is not only it creates jobs, but linkages. So it's amazing when you see the transport providers, the food service for 1,000 persons is incredible. Those opportunities that are being created for small and medium-sized businesses by the BPO industry.
And it's an industry where the provision of factory space is important, because sometimes there are investors who want to come in and they don't have the time to be building out factory space. They want to know that the space is available. So if they want to come in, right away, they can do so.
Absolutely. Typically, the lead time when an operator is coming to Jamaica is 3 months.
Of course.
They need that space to be ready.
They want the space then, yes.
So what DBJ did, we took the risk of going ahead and building the space ahead of the time.
Right, of course.
And typically these spaces take 12 to 18 months to be constructed. But the good thing is all the spaces that we've built to date have been fully leased. They are current on repayment, and they're employing thousands of people.
Excellent.
So we believe that the program has been a tremendous success, and we're encouraging our private partners to come on board as well.
So the DBJ is really having an important impact on the economy and on the social welfare, because by facilitating employment, you do that a great deal through supporting the micro and small enterprise sector, and by directly supporting the BPO sector.
Yes, through all our avenues, capacity building, collateral support with our guarantee program, and providing capital for businesses.
The DBJ, an important institution of development. Its general manager with responsibility for lending, Mr. Edison Galbraith, has been our guest on Issues and Answers. Next week I'll be back. Until then, Ian Bourne wishing you a pleasant day.